everyone, my name is Nathan. I work in student recruitment at EY. I've got Jay, who's one of our apprentices, and he's going to be speaking a little bit later about his apprenticeship. So just to get a sense check of the room, how many people, if you've heard of EY before, put your hand up. Okay, so a couple of you are smattering, which is good. Today we're going to be talking about our apprenticeship opportunities at EY, and if you have any questions, please do ask. That's absolutely fine. So who are we as an organisation? So we are an international organisation. Many people refer to us as accountants or professional services or one of the big four. We are basically a company that helps organisations and clients be better through the use of business, finance and technology. We have 21 UK offices in the UK, obviously. Our Birmingham office is about 10 minutes away from here in Snow Hill. We have offices, our furthest north office is Inverness, and our furthest southern office is Southampton, and we've got offices everywhere in between. We have around 18,000 people that work for us in the UK, and then 700 offices worldwide, and 300,000 people work for us globally. So as you can imagine, we are a very big organisation. So what is it that we actually do? We help companies and clients be better through the use of business, finance and technology. But what does that actually mean? We will go into our different teams. So we've got four main departments. We at EY, we call them service lines, but if you think of a school, in schools you've got an English department, a drama department, languages, maths, etc., etc. So these are our different departments. So we've got assurance, consulting, strategy and transactions, and tax. Today we're going to be focusing on assurance, strategy and transactions and tax, because we don't actually offer consulting roles in Birmingham for our apprenticeships, but we do at graduate level. So we're only going to be focusing on three, but we will talk about consulting as well. So let's talk about assurance. What is assurance? So assurance helps businesses and clients make sure their finances are in order and healthy for employees and investors. They also look at the risks businesses have and advise on them. So if you're someone that wants to be an accountant, this is kind of the closest thing to traditional accountancy. Other companies call it audit. So if you've heard of auditing, checking financial statements, audit is part of assurance at EY. For some reason we call it assurance and not audit. I don't know why. I've only been at EY for 10 months. But these are the different teams within audit, within assurance, sorry. So we've got audit, obviously. We've got insurance, banking and capital markets, and then we've got energy, government and public sector, and data analytics. So what these different teams mean is that if you imagine that assurance is a department, and then these are different classes within the department. So if you are, for example, working in audit, you'll be auditing different clients and making sure their financial statements are correct. If you are working in insurance, your clients will be in the insurance industry. If you're working in banking and capital markets, as you can imagine, your clients will be in the banking industry. And for example, if you're working in energy, then a lot of your clients will be in the energy sector. So that's the way it works within the different teams. So let's move on to consulting. So like I said, we don't actually offer consulting roles at apprenticeship level at EY, but we do at a graduate level. So consultants do a lot of varied work for our clients, from creating banking apps to advising on their HR structures. Our consultants transform organisations, helping them change for the future. So consulting is quite broad, and there are lots of different teams within consulting. So we've got technology consulting, business remediation, risk, intelligent automation, technology and data analytics, and anti-money laundering. So there is a lot more information on our website about all these different roles as well. So let's move on to tax. So the tax team work with banks and insurance companies. They help clients understand tax rules better, as well as use technology to improve processes and support companies buying or merging with each other. So I'm sure we've all heard of the term tax. Some of us here pay tax, unfortunately. Some of us here pay a lot more tax than we used to. But at EY, what the tax team does is basically work with different clients to make sure they're paying the right amount of tax. So within tax, we've got people advisory services, private tax, tax technology and transformation, global compliance and reporting, business tax service, and international tax and transaction services. So within tax, there are lots of different teams. teams, but their focus is all on tax, obviously. So, for example, tax technology and transformation, they're looking at how new technologies can improve the way businesses pay tax and make it more efficient. And Jay actually works in tax, and we're going to come to you a little bit later on so he can give you an overview of his day-to-day. And then lastly, we are going to look at strategy and transactions. So this involves advising organizations on how to grow and stay competitive through buying, selling, or merging parts of their business. It's made up of a number of different areas who work closely together. And for our apprenticeship roles, we only offer this in turnaround and restructuring strategy. So what turnaround and restructuring strategy is that I'm sure we've all heard of companies that are kind of going under or struggling. Maybe it's Marks and Spencer's, more recently Topman and Topshop have disappeared. Debenhams, Thomas Cook, yeah. They've gone as well, and Misguided more recently. Every time you read about a company that is going under or struggling, you hear the term the administrators have come in. So what those administrators are, they're basically companies like EY that help the business basically dissolve all their assets and pay the debt that they owe. So that might be through selling parts of the business, the profitable parts, or selling assets, including property. So the restructuring team, what they do is they basically decide, okay, what parts of the business can we sell, what parts can we salvage and sell off. So for example, Topman and Topshop are ASOS bought them, so you can now buy that brand through ASOS, for example. So that's what turnaround and restructuring strategy does. I just want to touch on, if we go back a slide, back, back one more. We'll go back to assurance. Yeah, forward. I just want to touch on the data analytics. So most of our apprenticeships are level 7, where you'll become a qualified accountant by the end of it. But we also offer a level 6 in digital and technology solutions, which we do with Northumbria University. And in that role, you'll be basically doing data analysis. So you'll either work in assurance or you'll work in a tax service line, but you'll be doing data analytical work. So that's what the overview of the digital and technology solutions is. The qualification is quite interesting, and it's quite varied in terms of what you'll be doing as part of that digital qualification. But I just wanted to highlight that as well, because I know some people are interested in. So if we go forward again. So obviously, when picking a job, it's not all about the work, it's about the culture, it's about the people as well. At EY, we're really proud of building a culture where everyone can feel comfortable being themselves. So for example, let's talk about what we're currently wearing. Obviously, I'm in an EY branded t-shirt, but I'm in trainers, Jay's in a hoodie and trainers. A lot of people think that you have to come to EY in a suit and tie every day. Even before I joined, I thought I was going to have to buy a lot of new suits and shoes, which I was actually looking forward to, and I found out I didn't have to, which saved me a lot of money. But we do have what we call dress for your day. So what that means basically is that if you're seeing a client that day, or you're working from a client's office, because that's what some of our people that work in tax and assurance do, they will maybe dress a bit smarter depending on the client. But if you are just in the office sending emails, etc., you can come in casually dressed. So lots of people wear jeans and t-shirt to work, a chino and t-shirt. I'm not going to lie, I've worn a tracksuit into the office before. I wouldn't advise that in your first year, but we do have dress for your day, so you can be comfortable in what you're wearing as well. A lot of young people that do apprenticeships or are interested in apprenticeships are worried about missing out on the so-called university experience. I'm still looking for a definition of what that university experience is, as someone who went to university, but a lot of our apprentices, they move out because they've got the money to. Some of our apprentices live with other apprentices in an apprentice house, not a name of a reality TV show. And we do have lots of socials. So next week we've got a reunion party, because a lot of our teams haven't seen each other for 2 years because of COVID. Within teams as well, they offer socials, so there's actually a budget. So we're basically encouraged to spend money to party, which is a bit strange, but it is a good perk as well. And there are netball teams, teams, book clubs, football teams, etc. as well. So if you're on the fence about doing an apprenticeship or going to university, don't feel like you're just going to be working and go home and that's it, you'll have no social life. We do hire around 200 apprentices across 17 of our 21 UK offices, and we do hire around 2,000 graduates as well. So you're not going to be the only 18-year-olds in the office. The average age of someone that works at EY is only 27, which may sound old to you if you are 18. It's not, but yeah, we hire graduates every year. So even if you might, in certain circumstances, you might be the only apprentice in your team, but however, there'll be apprentice a year above you, a year above that, etc., and there'll be graduates as well. So we're quite a young company as well. So don't feel like you are entering an organisation where you're going to be working with 40-year-olds, because that is not the case. Although there's nothing wrong with being 40. I'm not there yet. So let's go on. So let's talk about our actual programs that we've got on offer. So if we go on to the next one. So let's talk about our business academy. So if you are in year 11, or you know anyone in year 11, and you're going into year 12 next year, you can actually do a paid 1-week work experience with us. Now this program might change a little bit next year, but we still are going to offer it. We're hoping to open it up and offer it throughout the year instead of just 1 week. But what it is basically, it gives you on-the-job work skills, and it basically mimics one of our apprenticeships. So you'll be basically doing work as you would be doing if you were an apprentice with us. And you can support teams in either assurance, tax, or turnaround and restructuring strategy, and hopefully you know what those terms mean now. And to apply, you need to be in year 12 studying 3 A-levels, and that's any subject, so it can be any equivalent. So if you're studying T-levels, B-Techs, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter what subject you're currently studying, you just need to be studying equivalent to 3 A-levels. Now Jay actually did the Business Academy. Jay, can you give us an overview of what you did in that week?
Yeah, so exactly what Nathan said. I did the Business Academy in tax, which is what I work in now. And during that week, I got to kind of meet a peer group of other people who are also going into year 13. And during the summer, we shadowed a team in tax. So we did get the option of choosing where we wanted to work, and it was quite flexible. But I'm not actually working in the team that I shadowed now, because I felt like the team I wanted to go into, international tax, was a bit more me. But what I did during that week was I went to a client site, so I got to sit in a client meeting, which is actually similar to what I do in my day job now. I got to do some actual tax work, so client work, and I also got to kind of do some case studies, so like some challenges with the other people in my peer group, and then some socials as well, so they took us out for dinner.
Free food is always a bonus.
Yeah.
And then if you are successful on the Business Academy, you will actually be fast-tracked to one of our apprenticeships, and I'm assuming that's what happened with you, Jay.
Yeah, so during that Business Academy, I guess it's kind of like a way that they can kind of like a mini little interview process, I guess, but at the end of it, they fast-track you to the partner interview, which is the final stage of like, otherwise it's quite an intense application process. But yeah, that's how I got to EY.
So basically you cut up most of the application process, and then you can start with us as an apprentice. So it's a really great program. So like I said, if you're in year 11 going into year 12, or if you know someone that's going into year 12 next year, our applications will open in around November time. So let's go on to talk about our apprenticeships. So we have a range of apprenticeships in different service lines. Like I said, it's assurance, tax, technology, and
strategy and
transactions. There we go. I've been talking all day, my mind's gone blank. And depending on the role and location, you could earn up to 20,100 a year. More information about wages is on our website, and hopefully that will go up next year in line with the cost of living. Let's be honest, we're all feeling the pinch. And most EY apprenticeships are 4 years long, finishing with a qualification that's equivalent to a master's degree. So if you are on one of our apprenticeships that is in assurance or tax or strategy and transactions, most of those roles, by the end of it, you'll be a fully qualified accountant. But if you are doing the digital degree option, then you'll be doing a degree in digital and technology solutions, like I spoke about before. And then throughout your apprenticeship, you are supported with help from a buddy and a counsellor. So what a buddy is usually someone that started at the company the year before or 2 years before that you did as well, and that can show you the ropes. So for example, how to do certain things, where things are saved, saved on our internal files. And then a counsellor in this context is not a mental health counsellor, although we do have access to those kind of resources. So a counsellor in this context is basically someone that will help you along with your career, guide you along, give you feedback where necessary, and tell you what you need to work on or what you're doing well, because we've got a really structured feedback system at EY. So just going to pause on this slide for a second. So Jay, can you give us an overview of what your day-to-day apprenticeship is like in international tax, and tell us how long you've been at EY as well?
So I've been at EY for 3 years. I'm 21 now, so I joined when I was 18. And there is not really a typical day-to-day for me, which I know isn't great for what your question was, Nathan. Sorry. But it's quite interesting because I get to do different things every day. So like, I think the main part of my job in international tax is I work in quite a niche area called transfer pricing. And what we look at is, if you think of like a big multinational corporation, like let's say like a big soft drink brand, for example, they might have companies in America and they might have companies in the UK. And between those two companies, they have transactions. For example, if the UK company wants to use the branding, then they have to pay for that. And that's a really key way that companies can actually avoid tax, by kind of under or overcharging for these transactions to kind of shift profits. And so my job is to kind of make sure that that all happens in like a nice and legal manner, and support the businesses to make sure that they're meeting the kind of the legislation that they need to.
So what is your, I suppose, end goal with your apprenticeship? I know this is, I'm springing this on you, but surprise. Yeah, what is your end goal with your apprenticeship? What do you want to do? So you're 3 years in,
yeah.
You've got about a year left.
Yeah.
What do you want to do afterwards?
Well, I did have a year left because I'm doing my kind of ACA, which is the Chartered Accountancy qualification, but EY are really good and they let me pick up another qualification as well, which is a more tax specific one. So my apprenticeship has been extended a little bit, but only because I'm doing more exams. So my aim is to get qualified with 2 qualifications, and as well as the level 7 apprenticeship thing. I said that wrong. And then I hope maybe to do a secondment somewhere. So when you've done an apprenticeship, there are some opportunities to kind of travel to a different country. So I do want to do that. And I did do Spanish A-level, so I'm hoping to go somewhere I can use that. But yeah.
So I think there's a couple of things to pick up on here. So EY is very good because we're a very large company. There's lots of different options. So for example, you started with doing your ACA,
yeah.
And now what qualification have you picked up as well?
So CTA, so Chartered Tax Advisory.
Yeah. So you do have to start with one qualification, and the aim is to complete that qualification. But there's always options to pick up other qualifications if you want to. No one's forcing you to. And we do have access to an MBA as well. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a business qualification as well that all staff have access to, even me, even though I have no interest in doing it anymore. So I will be very honest with you. So there is lots of options within that, and because we are an international company as well, you can transfer to different countries. So for example, in student recruitment, we've just had someone join us from EY Australia, and people bounce between different companies as well. In some of our roles, especially in assurance and in audit, some of your clients will be internationally based, so you may get to fly out to America or France or somewhere in Europe to meet with those clients as well, and obviously everything's paid for as well, which is another good perk. Free stuff is always a good thing. So we've kind of done that slide, so let's move on. So let's talk about the application process very briefly. So this application process may change next year. We're currently reviewing everything. So I'm going to give you the old application process, and then if you come to our stand, if you haven't already, sign up for more information, and then when we will email you basically with a lot of stuff about what we've got on offer and the new application process. So on the Business Academy, it's just a 3-stage application process. So you fill out the application form. All we're looking for is your details, and a top tip for any apprenticeship that you apply for: do not use a school email address. You're going to leave school at some point, so do not use a school email address, do not use a college email address, use a personal email address. I'm actually begging you, because it's a nightmare trying to contact candidates over the summer when they've abandoned their school email address, which is fair enough. So always use a personal email address, and make sure you put in your mobile phone number incorrectly. You wouldn't believe how many applications we receive that have 10 digits on it. Your mobile phone number has 11 digits. If you you didn't know that, that's something that you can learn today. Our online assessment, so we do have some online assessments. One of the online assessments is a numerical reasoning test. We are not looking for mathematicians. And you don't need to have studied maths to do any of our programs, but we are looking for people that are comfortable working with numbers, and that shouldn't put you off because you can practice for them beforehand as well. But again, that's where it's really important, if you haven't already, to sign up for more information, because we'll send you all of that practice information as well. And then a telephone interview, so obviously the top tips are make sure you've got signal, take it somewhere quiet, and know why you want to work at EY, so do the research. There's a lot of information out there about our organisation, so do the research, know why you want to work for EY, but also know why you've applied for that particular role that you've applied for as well. So we're not looking to catch people out in any of our interview stages. We want people that are enthusiastic and know why they want to work at EY and are willing to learn, basically. And then if we go on to our apprenticeships, there's 2 more stages. So there's a EY Experience Day, and that is an online assessment centre day. And what happens is that you are invited to a call on Teams, and you will be with other candidates. You get given a problem, and you have to work together in a group to come up with solutions to that problem, and you have to write about what you did in your group, basically. So I'm sure all of you have done this at school at some point. So the top tips there are obviously, it's all about teamwork. It's all about making your voice heard, bringing people into the conversation as well. So that's the EY Experience Day. And then the final interview is usually with a partner or a senior manager. A partner in any of these companies is like basically the head teacher, but there are lots of different partners, and they earn a lot of money, far more money than I am currently on. So again, don't be nervous that you're being interviewed by someone really senior at the company. Again, we're not looking to catch people out. We just want to know why people want to work at EY, so what are your motivations and how you've got to this point as well, so why you've applied to work in tax or assurance. And another top tip as well, and again, you can apply this to other apprenticeships, is that if you are someone that does extra stuff outside of school, so let's say, for example, you resell trainers on Instagram, for example, and you have to look at, buying stock and how much you're going to sell it at, that's basically working in finance. Don't be afraid to talk about those experiences in your interview as well, because they're interesting talking points. So make sure if you are doing any sorts of really interesting stuff outside of school, you're talking about that in your interview as well. And then some top tips, like I said, so why EY? What are your strengths? Where are you applying to? I'm assuming that our closest office is obviously Birmingham, but we do have offices in Leeds and Hull. I don't know if you're from around there, but if you're thinking of moving out, have a look at our website. If any of you are thinking of applying to London, don't. And the reason why I say that is because we get thousands of applications in London, but we do have offices in Luton and Reading that we get less applications to as well. So if you are thinking you want to break free from your mum and dad's house, you want to move down to London, apply to Luton or Reading as well, because like I said, you do get to work from home, and the offices are both near the train stations as well. Okay, so if you haven't come to see us at our stand is kind of down there near the entrance. Do come and have a chat with us. We do have 2 more apprentices. We've got Molly, who works in assurance, and we've got Lucy that works in restructuring as well. So do have a chat with them as well and find out their day-to-day. And if you haven't already, please do scan the top QR code. When you scan that code, a link will pop up. Do fill out that link, and when you press submit, you'll automatically get an email with more information about our apprenticeships. And when we reopen in November for applications, you'll be one of the first people that we invite to apply. And then the bottom link is a link to our student pages on EY. So I've done a lot of talking and thrown a lot of information at you. Does anyone have any questions? No question is a bad question. And don't be shy. Any questions? No? Okay, we've got one.
Do we need relevant work experience before we apply?
The answer to that in short is no. I know a lot of companies, they want 10 years work experience and then 5 years unpaid work experience, but then they also want you to have graduated in the last 3 years. I've definitely seen adverts like that. So you don't need to have relevant work experience, you just need to know why you want to work in that particular area. So I wouldn't say you need a relevant work experience, no. Any other questions?
EY stands for EY.
What does EY stand for?
Yeah, good question. So our full name is Ernst & Young, and a lot of older people might know us as Ernst & Young. Yeah, I'm getting a few nods. We rebranded to EY about 6 years ago. So if you're an older person or a parent, I say Ernst & Young. If you're younger, we're known as EY now. And we're one of the top 4 global accounting firms, along with PwC, Deloitte, and KPMG, but obviously we are the best one. Okay, last call for questions. If there are no more questions, thank you very much for joining us. Please, if you haven't already, come and visit our stand and come and speak to us, and hopefully we'll see you at EY very soon.